Tonight's neighborhood board meeting for Waiʻalae for Waiʻalae Kāhala, being the 19th of March, Thursday. Looks like we got a nominal group tonight. Camera's a little fuzzy. If I can have the members at Waiʻalae introduce themselves so I know who's there.
John White, Subdistrict 4.
Aloha McGuffey, at large.
Thank you, Aloha. Thank you, John. This is Brian Wong. I'm the vice chair. Waiʻalae Kāhala Neighborhood Board will start tonight's meeting. I might have some weather-related matters that precluded some people from being here, maybe on time. So why don't we just jump into it? So let's go with some of the reports here, starting off with the Honolulu Fire Department. I believe I see the picture right now. So Honolulu Fire Department, go ahead.
Hey, good evening. My name is, you guys can hear me good?
Perfect.
Okay, my name is Firefighter 3 Daryl Sato. I'm with Engine 5 up here in Kamaki. The stats for February, we had 10 activated alarms, 1 structure fire. For emergencies, we had 40 medicals and 1 hazardous materials incident, 2 ocean rescues. And so for the fire safety tip of the month, it's smoke alarms. Smoke alarms save lives and are an important part of a home fire escape plan. Properly installed and maintained, smoke alarms give occupants early warning to get outside quickly. So smoke alarms should be installed in every bedroom, outside each separate sleeping area like a hallway, and on each level of your home. Test smoke alarms at least once a month by pushing the test button, and replace all smoke alarms when they are 10 years old or stop responding when tested. And that is all.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks for the report. Any questions from members of the board? No? Any questions from the community? All right, looks like we're good right now. Appreciate the report. Thank you.
Just one more thing. You know, last month, we're supposed to give feedback on a question that was asked in January. I was wondering if you guys got that information via email, because they asked me that particular question in January, but the company who was supposed to do the board meeting, they're on an alarm, so they couldn't attend for February.
Anson, I need to defer to you.
I haven't received anything from the
Okay.
HFD.
The February mail out from HFD.
No, yeah, I haven't received anything.
Okay. I'll go let them know about it.
Got it. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's see here. Moving forward, the Honolulu Police Department. I see
Hello,
on.
Lieutenant Taro Nakamura with the Police Department.
Yes.
These are stats for February as compared to the previous month. Motor vehicle thefts were 3 as compared to 6. Burglaries were 2 as compared to 4. Thefts in general were 22 as compared to 10. And UEMVs, which is theft from autos, was 3 as compared to 6. This is out of total calls of service of 5,229 for the district. Further statistical information can be found at honolulupd.org. And our safety tip for the month, I know it's raining like cats and dogs right now, but it's just a reminder. Around 2:30 this afternoon, we actually had the latest update was from the HNL alert app. There was a magnitude 7 earthquake off the South Shetland Islands. This is in Antarctica. So the tsunami would have come from the south, which is pretty bad. We're not prepared. We're more prepared for stuff coming from the north, yeah. So it's just a friendly reminder. Now, of course, there was no tsunami threat according to the Pacific Warning Tsunami Warning Center, but it's just a reminder that things can happen at the absolute worst of times. If you can imagine having a tsunami while these big rains are going on. So you can where can you check for that kind of information? You can always go to the honolulu.gov/DEM, that stands for Department of Emergency Management. And they have a pretty interesting program where you can plug in your address and you can see whether you're in a tsunami evacuation zone or not. And any information that you have beforehand is good information and can help you prepare. So just bringing it up. Thank God nothing happened and nothing is supposed to happen, according to the smart folks at the weather centers. But just a friendly reminder.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Lieutenant Nakamura. Good tips for everyone there, for sure. Any questions from board members?
Yes, I have one.
Hey, John.
I'm going to ask you for your recommendation. I'm going to explain. I got a report from one of our neighborhood watch members in Kāhala on March 16th that there were 2 vehicles with homeless or houseless people living in them. And there's one shouting match between neighbors and them. These people are not in dire distress, so CORE did not need to be called, and they weren't breaking any laws. When I check into this in the past, because I've gotten calls from other neighborhood watch members, when I asked HPD, it's kind of like not their favorite topic because it's houseless people, but there is a statute where human habitation in a vehicle is not allowed. And I looked it up. And I looked up one of the license plates of the car this week, and they were cited for, the habitation in the car, and their fine was $35. So I also talked to a retired Honolulu judge, and they told me that this law can almost be considered unconstitutional because there's limited space at IHS and other facilities. So my question to you is, given that people are not breaking the law, they're not in dire straits, but neighbors are uncomfortable with someone living in a car in front of their house, what should they do? Should they call HPD? I knew,
That is a very, whenever it comes to the issue of homelessness, it's can be a very, unfortunately, it's turned into a very political problem also, on top of the fact that, yeah, we have a homeless problem on them in Hawaii, as you know, and that's directly related to lack of housing and the cost of living and things such as that, or which are completely outside the purview of the police department. That being said, is there a law in the books that say that? Yes. We cite them, and oftentimes the judge, it depends on the judge for that day, and the judge for that day may very well render the same opinion as the one that you asked, the retired judge, and throw that out. But without getting too political, the best advice that I can give you is, if you see a problem and you see it escalating, don't be afraid to call 911. And we have to judge each situation for its unique circumstances. So just go ahead and call 911. And there's certain things that we have to do before we cite somebody for that, habitation in vehicles, that is. But just call the police and we'll deal with that unique situation when it comes. Yeah. There's no blanket answer for this problem.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Okay. Any other board member?
Lieutenant Nakamura, I have an additional question for you.
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. Who's this?
So 2 different questions for you. One, I believe it was Saturday when the storm started coming down and we started losing power. I saw HPD responding in about 15 minutes once the power went down to what looked like about 6 or 8 different incidents, sort of spread out all over Sierra Drive in the Kaimuki area. Wanted to check in, see if you had any idea about sort of what they were responding to on that day and time, and just sort of what the situation was with that. HFD was also involved, it seemed, in a couple of those.
I was working on Saturday night. What time? What time was that?
It would have been Saturday day. I believe the power went out around
Oh,
1
during the
o'clock.
day. I don't know, but I do know that all last week we were responding to a whole host of weather related events. So if it happened during the day, I couldn't give you I can't give you a specific answer, but we had so many transformers blow up and they were called in as gunshots and of course the rain and the flooding. So it was more than likely a combination of any or all of those issues. If it happened last week, Saturday, it was a pretty crazy day.
Okay. No, thank you for that answer. Glad to hear you all stayed safe out there. In addition to that, one of our board members, Aloha McGuffey, reported that a large amount of debris and trash, for lack of a better word, came down the what was the canal right there? I always forget the name of it.
It came down Waiʻalae Nui Stream and Pueo Drive, and it floated all along. And I think City and County cleaned up on the Waiʻalae District Park side, but of course the other side is DLNR. And so we're now in the process of cleaning it all out. And homeowners are doing it themselves because you can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think Kate was going to be here tonight, but I saw her downstairs and she had to run home. But she may be on later this afternoon. She's the one who took most of the pictures
wow.
that I sent you. And they look like homeless debris coming down as usual. And this has been going on for a long, long time now.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of my crews that were assisting with cleanups in the neighborhood also came across very similar debris piles, as well as used heroin needles and a accoutrement of other things. When it comes to local government, it seems like there's a lot of finger pointing as to who's responsible and how they can best assist HPD, because I think we can all agree that nobody likes when people are littering, and people have a right to live an unburdened life, but instead of placing their burden on us, it ends up we the community end up shouldering the burden for them. And I know that you guys over the HPD don't like responding to this stuff any more than we do. What is lacking in empowerment right now that the neighborhood board can help with to assist, because it's backing up on all sorts of ends, and every time it rains, the trash comes down. Homeowners have to clean up the properties that we pay our taxes for, that DLNR and city and county are supposed to help with. And I know you guys are just trying to do the best job out there that you can. So where do you see your major weak point right now that you can't help with, but legislature can?
I think, to be completely honest with you,
Mhm.
That is a question that is a political one that you should probably ask your state senators and representatives for, because if I say something, well, first of all, I'm not of the appropriate rank to say my opinion is not the opinion of the police department, and I'm not of the appropriate rank to give an opinion as far as what the HPD says. But if you do see an issue, just, I mean, call 911 is what I can tell you as far as a patrol lieutenant is concerned. That being said, what can we do when we get called there? The police department, we can cite a person if they're on state land, right? And their signs posted, or city parks and the signs posted, whatever the issue may be, homeless person in the park, we can
Mhm.
cite that person. till the cows come home, if you want me to be completely honest with you. Will that solve the problem of homelessness? You know, will it make lives better? That's a question that society needs to answer, you know, not just, blame one department or blame another department. And yeah, it sounds like I'm kind of trying to evade the question, but after a certain point, you got to be honest with ourselves. Yeah. How can we actually solve all this? It's a tough issue, and that's why here in America we have representatives and senators. So what laws should be more strictly enforced? You know, can the judges actually appreciate that? Senators and representatives pass a law, so they should be enforced. You know, yeah, difficult questions there. Well, I think that are good questions that we need to ask of ourselves as a society.
Well, I appreciate the tightrope that you're walking verbally and the position you find yourself in. And I will push back against something that you said. I think you are the perfect person to ask about this type of stuff since you are boots on the ground. And I often find that folks like yourself and the other HPD officers who actually respond to this type of stuff are the ones who really have to deal with it in a real way. And you guys understand at the nitty gritty level what's needed. So your opinion is very appreciated in terms of the way that you view this issue. So thank you. And I believe we have a community member here who would like to ask a quick question of you.
Hey, evening, Lieutenant. Paul Hogan from Kāhala Towers here. Just a parking question here. The parking enforcement for the people who run around the little cars and give tickets to like the Kaimiki parking lot like that. Is that can they actually go into regular communities and give tickets, or it's only just for meter enforcement?
If you're talking about, well, the city used to have a meter parking enforcement unit, and that was taken in under the Honolulu Police Department. It was merged into the Honolulu Police Department. They only, are you talking about the folks that they used to run around in the Cushmans, but now I think they're in like small cars like Priuses
Yeah.
or whatever? Those guys?
Yeah, it used to be the Cushman, but now it's like a Ford Focus, something like that. Small
Yeah,
car.
those guys are primarily, their duties are for metered parking and for disabled handicap parking.
Okay, to enforce that. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, as far as getting people parking on sidewalks like that, and not in like the Kapulu area where there's no sidewalk, but like regular sidewalks in the Kāhala zone like that. If it's a continuous problem, does your beat officers actually stop once in a while and take a look, or only if it's in front of a fire hydrant? What's their usual protocol?
If it's on a public street, just call 911 and we'll address this issue for that day.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
All right. Ryan, you mind if I take it
Yeah,
back from
pass the
here?
gavel over to you, my friend.
Thank you, sir. All right. Up next, we have Lorna from the Board of Water Supply. Is Miss Lorna here?
I am here. Coming on. Can you folks hear me
How we
okay?
doing this evening? Yes,
Hi,
we can.
good. All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Lorna Heller from the Board of Water Supply. I have a quick announcement as usual. No main breaks to report for last month. The announcement this month is about World Water Day, which is going to be on March 22nd next week. So please join the Board of Water Supply as we recognize World Water Day. Just to give you some background on what it is, it's an annual United Nations observance to raise awareness where about 2.2 billion people are living without access to safe water. And this year the theme is where water flows, equality grows. And why it matters? Well, the global water crisis affects everyone, but women and girls often carry the heaviest burden when safe water and sanitation aren't available. And Another thing they said wanted to mention is like, did you know that more than 1 billion women still lack access to safely managed drinking water? So throughout March and especially on March 22nd, please check our social media pages and boardofwatersupply.com/WWD for inspiring stories and videos about global water crisis. And please remember that water is a finite resource, so let's make every drop count. That is my announcement this evening. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you so much, Lorna. Does anybody on the board have any questions for Lorna from the Board of Water Supply? Anybody online on the board? Anybody in the community have any questions for Lorna from the Board of Water Supply? Miss Lorna, as always, it is a pleasure, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you. Oh, actually, Lorna, I did have one
Yes,
quick thing
yes.
for you. I was in contact with the Board of Water Supply yesterday and today for getting some of our clients' water meters turned back on. Just want to let you know that the customer service and the responsiveness was excellent. For once, we had a government employee who showed up earlier than he was supposed to. Was
Nice.
in and out 2 seconds. It was exceptional. So please thank
Great
everyone
to
over
hear.
there for another excellent experience.
Very good. Good to hear that. Thank you so much for those kind words.
Thank you kindly. Up next, Department of Transportation Representative Casey Abe. He unfortunately emailed and said that he would be unable to make it this evening. Is there anybody else from the Department of Transportation who is standing in his stead from the Department of Transportation on behalf of Casey Abe? Nope. I'm not sure how kosher this is, but the letter that we sent in to the Department of Transportation asking for the crosswalk at Hunakai and Waiʻalae. Is he? Oh, perfect. We'll jump into it right after this then. Marvelous. Filling of vacancies. We have a vacancy in Subdistrict 1. Is there anybody interested serving on behalf of Subdistrict 1 who is a resident of Subdistrict 1? Subdistrict 1, I believe that's the Diamond Head side. Oh, oop. Yep, here we go. No, I misspoke. Yep. So that looks like it is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and you. Not to brag, but since you show up every meeting, you now have access to a table. It only squeaks a little bit. Are you really? Oh, we'll be sorry to see you go. We're still gonna get that parking done at Kāhala Towers, though. Don't you worry. One way over my dead body. All right. Does anybody online, anybody in person, would anybody here like to put forward their nomination of self onto District 1 or Subdistrict 1? Going once, going twice, extra firm table. Sold. All right. On to the next. Let's see. Reports of members' attendances at other meetings. Did anybody attend? Any violations of Sunshine Law? Marvelous. On to the next. Elected official reports. The governor's representative, Ms. Patty Jetty, will not be attending tonight. I believe we have somebody here in her stead. Please introduce yourself into the microphone.
My name is Andrew Lawrence. I'm the Director of Communications for the Department of Land Natural Resources. Patty does a great job with this and needed to take a night, so I'm here in her stead. So the couple of things we have, I think probably of greatest interest to this group, I understand, is there is a response from the Department of Education on lot at Pu'u Panini Avenue sidewalk access request. I'm just going to read the email that came in today. Hi, Patty. Thank you for continuing to flag concerns from the Waiʻalae Kāhala Neighborhood Board regarding the DOE's property on Pu'upanini Avenue. We appreciate the board's ongoing engagement. We recently met with our facilities and operations teams along with staff members familiar with the site to better assess current conditions, including maintenance needs and erosion concerns, and to consider potential next steps. The department is actively evaluating options that balance safety, long-term maintenance needs, and available resources. This includes consideration of lower maintenance approaches appropriate for the site. We acknowledge the frustration regarding the lack of earlier response and will work to improve communication going forward. As plans are further developed, we will share updates as appropriate. That's it.
Do you have anything else to report on behalf of the governor's office?
I do. Just some announcements. FYI, this is a pretty important one. If you've heard, the U.S. Postal Service, this is from the Department of Taxation. U.S. Postal Service has changed its procedures for when it puts a postmark on a letter. So it used to be when you would put the, it would be applied at the post office where you dropped it off, but now it's going to be at the central processing area. So it'd be placed, when you place it in the mailbox, the U.S. processing facility. So when you're paying your taxes, the date on that the postmark is when, like, Department of Taxation considers that the return was filed and the payment was made. But now you have to calculate another 1 to 3 days for inter-island mail and for things like that. So they're recommending that you file your return at least 5 to 7 days before the deadline. Or use the post office retail counter and request a manual postmark. That will work. Or send certified or priority mail, or obviously pay electronically whenever possible. But basically avoid putting in the mailbox close to the drop-off deadlines. I just want to give a heads up to everybody for that. And then any questions on that? Last thing that may just be of general interest is the Department of Transportation is continuing to apply diacritical markings to street names and destination signs on the state highway system. They're focusing on 2,000 state highways connecting streets. And there is a Facebook page, which if you want to go look it up, you can probably either find on the Department of Transportation website and then click to their Facebook page. Residents can provide feedback to the Department of Transportation's master list of street names, as well as look up possible meanings of specific street names. Public comments are being accepted throughout the year.
Excellent. Before we let you go, for the Department of Education,
Yes.
you are the messenger. We
Okay.
are not here to shoot the messenger.
Okay.
Um,
Way.
I think I speak on behalf of everybody who lives in that area when I say that the Department of Education's response is unacceptable and another time delaying tactic. I have a crew of 20 people that I employ for one of my businesses, and they could handle that job in half an afternoon. The residents have been patient. They have been understanding. They have offered to do the work themselves. And my company as well has offered to donate as they address low maintenance options. We have offered to donate a landscape design, native plants, everything that a state agency could hope for. It's outsourcing work for free. And the residents have actively done landscaping maintenance at their own harm, duty, and hazard for that area to just try and kind of keep things up. So whoever either yourself or Patty speak with over at the Department of Education, please relay to them that we find their response lackluster and of an unacceptable manner, and that we will continue to pursue this in a manner maybe even a little bit more vehemently than we did before. But again, not towards you.
No,
You're just the
that's what I'm
messenger.
here for. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, the residents there have been more than patient. And if the Department of Education is unable to maintain their own facilities, then perhaps they should move somewhere else or bring in somebody who can. It's a minimal expectation that every citizen here has for themselves that is forced upon us by the government, and the government should adhere to the same standards. I actually know that there's a gentleman here who is very passionate about this as well. And is Barry or Allison here this evening? Yep. Yep. I know Randy is our #1 boots on ground for this type of issue and has been dealing with this. You're looking at the man who cut most of the grass there himself.
I used to work with him. Yeah, I know what kind of guy he is.
Perfect. All right. Excellent. Oh, yes. We love Randy. Randy shows up every meeting. Randy is very impassioned. Randy's put in just dozens of hours just showing up here to make sure that this is aware for the Department of Education. So please tell them that their answer is not accepted kindly, please.
All right, I will. Is this just so I know, is the situation the same in appearance and everything? Is anything changed? Okay.
No. Yeah. With this, let's since it isn't currently on here, let's hold that off till resident community concerns. If you would stick around until that, just so you can hear him out. And then while you're up there too, we have House Representative Tina Grandinetti, who also offered out of her time to meet with the Department of Education, meet with Randy and everybody, put herself forward. I believe several of your emails went unanswered. Is that correct? So a House representative, local politician, reaches out to the Department of Education to help them try and clean up their own mess, and her attempt to do so goes unanswered. I myself also sent several emails as well and offered to take time out of my day to show up there, in addition to offering to do their job for them and donate a landscape design and donate plants. So please tell the Department of Education that they have no excuses to hide behind, and we'd very much like to get this done sooner rather than later.
Will do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Oh, please.
One question, and I'm sorry I didn't get your name.
Oh, Andrew Lawrence, Communications Director at the Department of Land Natural Resources.
Great, great. Oh, is that, oh, that's right, yeah. So this is kind of a follow-up to what we talked about a bit earlier. You know, some of our beaches out here are city and county and some are DLNR. And the city and county is doing a great job in cleaning up after storms. However, the DLNR side of the beach is just not, we're not quite sure how to connect with DLNR, the right department, in order to get help. Because as Christian mentioned, we have all kinds of stuff in there, and the residents now, we're hiring people to come in and clean it. But in the future, is there a department within a section within DLNR that we should be contacting? Because it's kind of an unhealthy, dangerous situation for residents to clean up.
Cover the doors.
You can call our office, you can call Patty's number. Yeah, and we have, we'll find who, just let us know the beach name and then maybe the time that you, you know, what you saw. If you want to send photos, that can help too.
We've got tons of photos.
Okay.
Now, I think we're in the process of cleaning it up already, but I think for future, because we're going to have more rain, obviously.
Mhm.
And this goes back to your point is that if we can get collaboration between city and county and state agencies to clean up the streams and canals before the storm, then I think we won't have all this cleanup down at the beach at the end.
Mhm.
So if there's a way that your department and DLNR can speak to your counterparts in the city so that we can figure out a way to get these cleaned.
What kind of
before-
debris
it
are
doesn't
you?
happen just here. It's around the island.
Right. What kind of debris are you seeing? I know I'm asking specific. What I'm going to ask about specifically is what we just saw down at Waiʻalae after this storm. A lot of household trash, and people will say, okay, it's the homeless and such. Except that a lot of this household trash was accompanied with like logs that were cut by chainsaw. And normally that's homeowners, landscaping businesses, and people who will throw that into the stream bed, maybe assuming, as I once did, that it will biodegrade and build up the stream side, but it doesn't. When we get the big rains, it comes through so fast it pulls everything out. So it's something that we can all do in our own backyards to help with that as well. But yeah, it would be good to see pictures of, of the kind of things that are
Or
coming
maybe
out.
we need some kind of a community action group for all of the communities within East Oahu, because all of the streams and canals in East Oahu flow right into Mauna Loa Bay. And that's
Yes.
a big problem with our
Yes.
coral reefs.
Yeah, to further back up what Aloha is saying, even just this morning, I witnessed a homeless gentleman having a mental health crisis. And in his crisis, he was taking trash and throwing it directly into the street, and there was a storm gutter right there. There are, under one of my industrial yards, there is let's say it's a state easement. I'm not entirely certain on that, but there's an underground easement that pops up right next to the Federal Credit Union, and there are about 80 people that live underground in a concrete waterway easement. And so during the dry seasons, they have an entire community down there with tents and cooking utensils and everything. They have ACs, they have batteries, they got everything. And when the rains hit, they grab what they can and they evacuate that area, and a lot of the other stuff gets left behind. So me personally, I've directly witnessed exactly what she's talking about, both in that main canal that comes out right there, as well as the other one, which I believe is Kilauea and yep. And that is another one that frequently has a large community of homeless folks who live under several of those bridges as well. I completely agree with you when you say that everybody can do a better job in making sure that we're taking care of our environment. But just from, I think, what everybody has seen, directly witnessing in these main areas, which are in the areas of question and impact, we are directly witnessing a disproportionate amount of waste being generated by one group, and watching that same exact waste flow directly into the ocean. A couple meetings ago, you might have been here for it. A gentleman sent us photos. He'd pulled out 14 shopping carts out of the ocean right in front of where Pueo Canal drains out. I don't see a lot of homeowners taking home shopping carts and then throwing them into the canal.
Yes, I was limiting my comments about specifically to saw cut logs and other household items that you might, yeah, so yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Aloha's got some
But I agree.
fantastic photos here that she took in her neighbor, I guess. Yep, neighbor took as well. There's a variety of yeah, I think that would be helpful just so you guys can see kind of what's going on over
Yeah,
there.
and I think certainly certain areas that like are points of cleanup we can, but in terms of going up the entire stream, I don't, that's a technical question I'm gonna have to ask our people. So thank you. Yeah.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Does anybody else on the board have any questions for the governor's representative? Does anybody in the community have any questions for the governor's representative? Perfect. Thank you again. Oh, we've got one here.
It's an oddball question. Just I saw in the news the other day that the governor is advocating for different kind of power sources instead of oil. JERA, like Japan Energy New Era, something like that. So I'm just wondering, it's a liquid natural gas. So I'm just wondering if what the actual cost is going to be down the road to switch over from, oil to liquid natural gas. If the governor has like a roundabout figure like that, I just want to know, because if we're going to get stuck with this bill too, just like the rail, $200,000 a day, it's going to just hit us hard just to do low emission for the state of Hawaii. So just want a round number. Thank you. Next time's okay.
Okay. If you want it faster, you can call the governor's office. Constituent Services has us do a turnaround in about 48 hours. Yeah, their number is 808-586-0034. That's their front line. So we do our best to get you a response in 48 hours. It's the front line for the governor's office, 586, yeah, 808-586-0034. You're welcome. So they'll just parse it out to the department that has, you know, specialty in that. Mhm. Sure.
Loved the governor's press release, by the way, talking about the Japanese infrastructure build out with the rail. Very impressive stuff over there. So please commend him on that. But thank you very much for your time. Does anybody else have any questions? Perfect. On to the next. Thank you. Up next, do we have the mayor's representative? Mayor's representative this evening. Excellent. Please introduce yourself into the microphone. If you would like, what we can do is hear you speak into the microphone so everybody online can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm not fighting for the spotlight. I got a really long report, fine print. For the record, my name's Hong Long Li. I go by Hong, H-O-N-G. I'm the new deputy director at the city's Department of Transportation Services. I'm new to the role, but I'm not new to DTS. I've been with DTS for more than 11 years. My training and my background focus on engineering. It's my pleasure to provide the mayor's report. As I mentioned, it's pretty long report. But allow me the first one, I'm going to run a commercial for HNL 311 system. It's a requirement. The city launched the app in December 2025. There are 3 ways you can get the app. Number one, if you use Apple, go to the Apple Store to download. If you use Android, there's a Google Store you can download. The last way is you visit a website called hnl311.com. You can download from the website. The second announcement is basically you can see from Mayor's March newsletter. They're kind of exciting month. We have a lot of things going on. The schedule for Mayor's 2026 Town Hall meeting has been released. You can look at the newsletter, get all the dates for different community. We also have an event in Waiʻalae called a Homegrown First Responder, was well-received event. Also, city launched an annual food drive for the Hawaii Food Bank. Exciting event. Hong Long Li announced as a new, oh, that's me, as a new deputy director for DTS. We also have another event for DTS with the Skyline ridership surges as Bill 60 passes. So all these details can be viewed on Mayor's newsletter that can be downloaded from the website. Okay, after the announcement, here's the exciting part. We have departmental issues follow up. For the record, I'm going to read the first 2 requests together because they kind of related. The first request is for a representative from CORE. Chair T.E. Kivado requested a member of CORE to attend Thursday, March 19 meeting to address the homeless issue in Kāhala. Let me go ahead to read the second request because they closely related. The second request is also about homeless issues. Chair D. Covado questioned what are residents supposed to do in dealing with the homeless in neighborhood, despite reporting to the police, having them respond and filling a report, which never result in a satisfactory conclusion. So for both requests, we distribute the issue to Department of Emergency Services in the city. To this date, apologize, I haven't received a response on these issues. I will make sure I follow up with them again to come back with a response in April meeting. Part of the reason I can understand this past week, we have some really significant weather event. My staff, along with emergency services staff, a lot of them been on 24/7 shifts. My understanding is a lot of EM staff, they went out, cover the whole island. Some of them, actually, I want to say a lot of them didn't have enough sleep for 72 hours straight. So I believe that's part of the reason, but I want to make sure I will come back with a response in April meeting. So going to number 3 is a request for traffic light retiming. Member Turbin requested that the traffic lights on the intersection of L Street and Kilauea Avenue need to be retimed. Our response from DTS is DTS will monitor the intersection of L Street and Kilauea Avenue and make adjustment as necessary. This has been on our radar for a long time. It's a complicated intersection. We will keep monitor the situation. The next request is about traffic timing as well. It's a traffic light resyncing. The board requested the resyncing of Alakia Street at the intersection of Queen Street, Merchant Street, and South King Street. DTS response is DTS has adjusted signal timing on Alakia Street to the extent possible. However, the signal priority is given to major east-west corridor. In this case, is King Street or Tania Street. Please understand that we have many competing needs for limited street space, and it is not efficient, safe, or always possible to design our street for free flow vehicle traffic during the very busiest time of the day. Next request is also regarding to traffic. It's a Kāhala Towers parking issue. Residents Hogan and Chair D. Quevedo wanted a timeline of the installation of a no parking sign near Kāhala Towers parking garage on Kilauea Avenue. DTS response is DTS has completed their investigation. We issued a letter dated March 18, 2026. The letter I have reviewed with my staff, the letter says we will install the no parking sign. We already put a work order through another department called the Department of Facility Maintenance. Next request is about DTS. DTS traffic study update. Residents wanted an update on traffic study on 22nd Avenue near the intersection of Puhanini Avenue. So DTS response is DTS will conduct an investigation which may require research, site inspections, and analysis of the area's traffic collision history. DTS is currently waiting for traffic data on vehicle counts, speeds for both locations, and anticipates completing their investigation by September 2026. Next request is about sidewalk widening. Residents Stephen requested to widen the sidewalk on Kilauea Avenue near the intersection of Malia Street. So DTS response is the Department of Design and Construction has recently added the segment of Kilauea Avenue from Waiʻalae Avenue to Malia Street to their phase 26B. I will repeat the number, phase 26B, rehabilitation of the street project. As part of this project, we are requesting that Malia Street crosswalk be adjusted to shorten the crossing distance and slow the speed of turning vehicles. This project has not yet begun design, so the construction of the improvements are still several years away. This project will also include the reconfiguration of Kilauea Avenue from Pahoa Avenue to 18th Avenue to address speeding and the lack of bicycle facility, as well as new sidewalk on portions of Harding Avenue and the Kaimuki Avenue. Next request is about no parking sign push. Resident Stephen requested the no parking sign on Kilauea Avenue near the intersection of Malia Street to be pushed back to allow more visibility for incoming cars. So DTS response is DTS has completed its investigation regarding the board's request to relocate the existing parking restriction on Kilauea Avenue near Malia Street. A review of the area's traffic collision history within the past 3 years did not reveal any condition, trends, and unusual circumstances, which would necessitate the relocation of the parking restriction at this time. DTS site investigation confirmed that the parking restriction sign on Kilauea Avenue near Malia Street is properly placed. However, there is an existing work order that was issued to the Department of Facility Maintenance to replace a faded no parking here to corner sign. For status update regarding to this installation, please call DFM at 808-768-3622. Let me repeat the number. The number is 808-768-3622. So the next request is about pneumatic traffic counter. Member Wang wanted to know what traffic study the pneumatic traffic counter installed on Malia Street near Wilson Park is associated with. DTS response is DTS placed pneumatic counter at Kilauea Avenue and Malia Street to collect volume counts for a traffic signal study that was requested. Oh, it's all DTS. The next request is a stop sign. Chair Privado wanted background information about the recently installed stop sign on Diamond Head Road near the intersection of Makalei Place. He questioned where the stop sign came from, who requested it to be installed, why it was installed so quickly, and why there's no warning sign installed. We often got the other side of the complaint, why it's been slow. It was a good question. So DTS response is DTS implemented the always stop at the intersection of Diamond Head Road and the Makalei Place following a completed traffic study and a site investigation. Their evaluation identified a pattern of speeding related concerns and crashes in the area. In addition, field condition revealed inadequate sight distance for the vehicle exiting Makalei Place, which created a safety challenge. Based on these findings, an always stop was recommended and determined to be the most proper measure to improve safety and traffic operation at this intersection. I'm going to read the next two requests altogether because this is all about broken street light. The number one is a resident Hogan requested the on Kilauea Avenue needs to be fixed. The second request, which is the last request, member Wang requested the light pole number 2471 need to be fixed. Both requests, we offer the same response. Both the street lights reported in item 11 and 12 were repaired on March 5, 2026. Thank you for notifying us of these concerns. I think that's the last item on my agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions?
You so much. They build you guys different over at DTS. That is you and Casey Abe both incredible. Thank you so much for your preparation and the organization and the responsiveness and getting actual work done. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. In regards to the Diamond Head stop sign, I did want to apologize. I'd misheard the person at the Diamond Head board I'd spoken with. They had made a vote on it and requested that. So I spoke out of turn on that. I apologize for that, but thank you for looking into it either way. I do have the intersection at Hunakai and Waiʻalae I would like to discuss. But first, let's open up the board. Does anybody on the board have any questions for Hong from the Department of Transportation Services? Or the
Just
mayors?
one.
Yep, yep.
I spoke with the deputy director before the meeting, and I sent him a snail mail letter about traffic concerns near Triangle Park, specifically speeding, elevation changes, illegal passing, and the curved geometry of the intersection at Diamond Head and Kāhala. And I've received several complaints from residents who've been nearly hit by cars. In fact, one was on February 23rd, where the driver slammed on the brakes. He said, "I couldn't see you." So the deputy director said that his department is looking into it and they'll do a response. So thank you.
Yeah, I do want to acknowledge that, we have received the letter. Thank you very much for sharing your concern to us. I have reviewed your letter in depth with my staff. We really appreciate the analysis you offered in the letter. And my staff already drafted the letter back to you. Hopefully by, April meeting, you should be able to receive a response letter from us.
Because I think Christian wants another stop sign on Kāhala Avenue, Diamond Head. No, we're just interested in traffic calming. Yeah, thank you.
Don't you dare. Does anybody in the community have any questions for the mayor's representative?
Hey, thank you very much, Kong, for coming to visit us tonight here. Really appreciate it here. Yeah, I saw the light changed at the YMCA, so I was really surprised. So I was going to say thank you if you didn't mention it tonight. Also, just work order wise, and as a work order for our no parking sign over there. Just wondering what, if you're shooting from the hip, what's the timeline there? A couple months, you think something like that?
This is highly fluid situation. I think so basically what happened is we look at the signs. If there's a need, we place a work order through another department called Department of Facility Maintenance. Sometimes I can see signs being replaced as quick as 2 weeks, sometimes even 5-7 days. But sometimes while they go through weather event like what we had last week, right? There's so many signs kind of missing. It could take anywhere between 2 to 3 months. But this one we do, bring their attention to is a long-term issue. We want to get a result as soon as possible. We did ask them to speed up the process. So hopefully that timeline is I offered is something you can expect.
We're going to like working with you very much. Thank you, Hong. Does anybody else in the community have any questions for Hong, mayor's representative? Okay, so moving on to the the intersection. Are you familiar with the letter that was written to the DOT under the underpass over there regarding the Waiʻalae and Hunakai exchange?
I'm not familiar with that letter. You said it's been sent to who?
So it was sent to the head of DOT, Casey Abe, as well, received a copy. Tina Grandetti got one as well as Stanley Chang, Blangiardi, Tommy Waters, I believe, as well. But it just kind of got peppered out to everyone and anyone. But about a year ago, a gentleman by the name of Mojito Sakai was struck by a 16-year-old driving a Tacoma at the intersection of Hunakai and Waiʻalae, which has been widely regarded and held as a dangerous intersection. That's where you have the Foodland Farms, the Zippies, the Hawaii Federal Credit Union, and then Kāhala Mall. And we've long had a series of issues there. We wrote a letter and passed a motion to have the area investigated and to have some sort of change. We had requested a pedestrian scramble, but again, at the discretion of the agencies at play over there to do something to improve the area. Just last week, somebody was, DOT. Okay, so but we would like to get the mayor on this as well, just because we got you here. But the intersection in question, I believe a week and a half ago, there was another accident over there. There's been several more since that last one. Mojito Sakai broke his spine, his arms, his legs, fractured his skull, was in the hospital for several months, has been paying his own medical bills and going to rehab very slowly. Actually, I believe he met his wife the other day and discussed it as well. I know Tina has been brought up too as well. This photo was taken by myself about 4 or 5 days ago. What you don't see is the Hiko truck that hit this gentleman. I believe it's a gentleman. I wasn't able to see much. I got there about 30 seconds after the accident occurred. But that exact spot is where Mojito was hit, and where several others have been hit as well. And to the governor's office, the mayor's office, anybody, this isn't actively, oh, there we go. There's the Hiko truck. This is, or actually, sorry, this was Sunday. So not only did they blow out all the transformers across the island, they then went and hit somebody with their truck as well. That's what happens when you don't pay your electrical bill. But this person was struck by that truck right there. And we have had more incidents than I can count that have occurred in this very crosswalk. Every day we see near misses. It's very dangerous. And for somebody coming from an engineering background too, you understand these issues much better than most people. And you seem to be very effective at your job and other tasks, given to you by the mayor to come and talk to us. If there's anything that you can think of, any paths that if you were in our position, you would pursue, or any people that you would suggest talking to, we would love all and any feedback that you have. You are clearly adept at your position. And Casey Abe has been a huge benefit to us and our community. He is very efficient at his job, and you seem to be in a similar path as well. So with your guidance, if you have anything that you would suggest, we are all ears, because this is a very pressing and concerning issue. We'd love to have it addressed.
Yeah, I'm always saddened by the tragic events like this. I think there are a lot of things can be done. I've said that I understand this is in DOT right away, the State Department of Transportation, with a county agency. We do work in partnership with them to improve the traffic safety. I'm not aware of this particular location. I'm positive, however, in my department, there are staff probably already look at the safety improvements. In DTS, we do have complete street team. We also have Vision Zero team, all looking into different safety measure could prevent things like this from happening. I will talk to my staff, go back, and probably they already have some good idea. They still, haven't shared with me. But thank you for bringing this to my attention.
To add a layer of complication to the issue as well, I believe that the crosswalks and some of the lights are DTS, city and county, while other portions of it, as well as the roadway itself, is DOT. So it also does require a level of cooperation interagency. It seems as though you would be just the person to help us push this through. So thank you again for your time on this. Does anybody else have any questions for Hong from the mayor's representative? It is a pleasure to have you here this evening. Thank you so much for your work this evening, and we look forward to seeing you at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on. Let's see. Chair Councilor Tommy Waters, are you here this evening? I believe I saw you earlier.
I am. Can you hear me?
Hi, Chair Waters. We can indeed. How are you this evening?
Aloha. Good to see you, Chair, Vice Chair Wong, and members of the Kāhala Neighborhood Board. Hopefully everybody's staying dry. I have a lot to report, but just want to chip in my 2 cents for the Waiʻalae and Hunakai. I agree with you. That's a really dangerous situation. We did put in a request to have a traffic study there. But if you're coming, anybody who's actually driven that intersection knows that when you're coming from the Makai side of Waiʻalae Avenue, trying to get onto the freeway, and you want to make that left turn, oftentimes it takes 2, sometimes even 3 times for the light to change before you're able to make that left turn. So I can imagine that truck coming from the Mauka side of Waiʻalae Avenue, rushing to come across. So a simple solution, perhaps, and again, I'm no engineer, would be a dedicated left turn arrow in either direction. And that way you'd have the pedestrians have the stop and then they wouldn't be able to cross while there is a left turn. Just my 2 cents. Okay, first thing I wanted to talk about was it's budget season right now for the city and county of Honolulu. The mayor transmits their budget every year to the city council on March 2nd. And we on the city council are required to go through the budget with a fine-tooth comb and pass a balanced budget by June 30th. So last week we had each department, and there's 25 departments in the city, come to the city council and present their budget. And they gave the council an opportunity to ask questions. So you all are able to review that on our website at honolulucitycouncil.org, as well as YouTube, if you have any interest in seeing what transpired and what each department is saying that they want to spend your taxpayer dollars to. Now, it's going to be on for first reading next week, Wednesday, which gives the public an opportunity to weigh in and say, look, we want the money spent this way or that way. As you all know, it takes 3 readings by the full council to pass the budget bill or any bill. And in between each of those 3 readings, we're going to have various committee hearings, budget committee hearings, where we also take input from the public. I also want to offer to any of you, if you want to email me at tommy.waters@honolulu.gov, your input on how we should spend this money, and or if there are any projects that you want me to insert into the budget. I'm happy to do it. Okay, second thing I wanted to talk about, and by the way, thank you all for your hard work and your input on Senate Bill 2423. I know it is on your calendar for discussion later on tonight, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you all and those who did have some input, because what this bill would have done was to allow by right a property owner to subdivide your residential lot into 2,500 square feet by right, meaning that the council couldn't do anything about it, or DPP for that matter. We currently have zoning at 3.5, 3,500 square feet, 5, 7.5, 10, and 20. And in order to change that, you got to go through this process. But what Senate Bill 2423 would do would say it's by right that the city could not deny that, which means, as an example, if you have a 10,000 square foot lot, like many of you do in Kāhala, someone could buy the house next to you, knock it down, and put up 4 houses instead of just 1 house, which is currently what's required on a 10,000 square foot lot. 4 houses. 2 years ago, the legislature passed Senate Bill 3202, which says that the city county has to allow 2 ADUs per house. Now, if you put the 2 bills together, that's 4 houses with 2 ADUs each on a 10,000 square foot lot. That's 12 units. I got to tell you, the number one complaints and concerns that I get in my office is transportation related. The second one is monster homes. Third is crime. But monster homes is basically Senate Bill 2423 coupled with Senate Bill 3202 with legalized monster homes in the residential districts island-wide. And you know, I did a call out and a lot of people responded, and both bills, the House and Senate bill, actually died. So thank you all for fighting for our residential communities. Third thing I wanted to talk about was the homeless coordinator, Roy Miyahira. This guy is really good. So I'm going to ask him to come and speak to the Kāhala Neighborhood Board to address a lot of your concerns. But one of the things that I want to look at, and I'd like your feedback, is oftentimes you have homeless people with shopping carts. And that's what they use to get around. And these shopping carts are basically stolen, right, from the various supermarkets and or Long's Drugs. And the city spends a lot of resources collecting these shopping carts and then returning them back to the retail merchants. Oftentimes the retail merchants say they don't want them back, but we drop them off anyway and leave them at the store because it's their property. They need to take more responsibility for the shopping cart. Every time the homeless coordinator will go in and do an enforcement, people load up their shopping cart, move to another street, and then after the cleanup, they come back. So one of the ideas is to basically ban shopping carts from public streets and roadways and only allow a shopping cart on the commercial premises. Before I introduce the bill, I'm working with the retail merchants and their agent to figure out if this is the best thing to do. You know, you may notice in Kāhala they have Ross's. You can't take the shopping cart outside of the store, which of course you don't see Ross's shopping carts anywhere on the streets, which, you know, in a sense works. But I also want to bring it to the community's attention. I don't want people, when I introduce the bill, I don't want people to think that's a crazy idea. I really want to get your feedback before we actually do that. The mayor did report last night that his goal was to take 1,000 people off the street, homeless folks off the street, and provide housing. And he reported last night in the State of the City address that actually the city was able to help 2,000 people. So that's good news. But the fact of the matter is we still see homeless people all over our community, and we need to do even more. Also, the fourth thing I wanted to talk about, I noticed on your agenda you have Maumai Nature Park. One of the things that the mayor wants to do is allow a private citizen to build a archery range there. You know, this has kind of been a hot topic at the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board, and it's interesting to see it here on the agenda for the Kāhala Neighborhood Board. But maybe that's something, if you folks do want to weigh in on that, do a resolution And, I would be happy to deliver it to the mayor. And Andy Sugg, who is the mayor's chief of staff, has actually been taking the lead on this. But I'd be interested to see what the Diamond Head Kāhala Neighborhood Board has to say about that. And then lastly, the fifth thing, it's good that we have Deputy Director Lee here representing the city on the neighborhood board, because one of the things that the city wants to do, Department of Transportation Services, is reduce Kilauea Avenue down to one lane between Waiʻalae Avenue and I think 22nd. And to me, that's it's going to cause a lot of problems. And everybody in Kāhala that I've talked to, with the exception of a few people who actually live on Kilauea Avenue, don't like the idea. But it's good that we got Deputy Director Lee representing us from DTS. So hopefully, if you folks want to opine on that to him, that's a great opportunity to do so. Anyway, that's all I got for now, and I'm available for questions.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for Council Chair Tommy Waters?
Hi, Council Chair. Regarding
Aloha.
the shopping cart
Yeah.
issue, how would that be enforced? Would an officer see someone and give them a citation? Would someone be sent out to take the cart away?
Great question. So basically, you couldn't have a shopping cart. And when I did a ride along with HPD, basically they said they cannot take the shopping cart, even though it says Long's Drugs on it. The way it's viewed is that's the property of the homeless person. So the idea, yes, you can get a citation, you can be arrested because it would be a misdemeanor. Probably a petty misdemeanor would be better. But my preference, I did meet with the major from HPD who's in charge of Kāhala and said, hey, look, first thing you do is say, look, this is illegal. You can't have this shopping cart. We want to take it. And if they say, yeah, sure, you can take it, the city will come and pick it up. And if they don't allow it, you could say, okay, we got to arrest you and then take it as evidence. But the fact of the matter is, once you take it, it'd be really hard to get it back. And then we would take it and give it back to the rightful owner, Long's Drugs or the retail merchant. That's how I envision it, though.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Good to see you, by the way, Mr. White.
Does anybody else on the council have any questions for Chairperson Tommy Waters?
I do.
Does anybody in the community have any questions for Council Chair Tommy Waters?
Hi, I'm going to give the presentation. My name is Dr. Grace O'Neill. I'm giving the presentation from our group. We're a group of concerned citizens about the archery range in our neighborhood. And if you could stay, Tommy, for my presentation, that would be great. Then you'll learn a little bit about our viewpoints. I know some people did meet with you a month ago and they expressed our viewpoints as well, but there's a little bit more in this presentation, so we would appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
You have a resolution as well that we're going to present, so thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Chair Waters, my name is Randy Port, and as you probably recall, back on the 23rd of July, when your representative Grandinetti had the joint town hall, we showed you pictures on Pu'upanini Avenue of the problem with the DOE lot and the sidewalk being covered up and all the refuse going into the street. At that time, we just had photos to show you on a cell phone, so it might have been tough to see, but then we sent presentations to Adam Doe and Tasha Luke afterwards, highlighting that. The reason I'm bringing it up right now is that, as you probably know, we consider to have issues with the Department of Education. I'll be speaking about that later on when it comes about my cycle around. But the issue that I have in particular for you, sir, is that in all of our frustration trying to get the DOE to keep the street clear, and we've had problems with even kids from Variety School trying to get a wheelchair pushing down that sidewalk, and they've had problems even, that we did see that that there's an ordinance 14-5.1 on the cleaning of sidewalks in which the Department of Planning and Permitting can enforce a clean sidewalk. And if a property owner does not keep the sidewalk clean, then after a 20-day notice, the Department of Planning and Permitting can charge them to have the city clean up the sidewalk and charge the landowner, who in this case is the DOE. So our question is, if push comes to shove with the community trying to get the DOE to keep the sidewalk clear, because they haven't done anything in even the past couple of months to keep it clear, could we get your help to try to push enforcement of 14-5.1? Quite frankly, we don't know if it's been done well or has been done in the past. A big thank you, by the way, to your office for Adam Doe and Tasha Luke. They've been helpful with us in both taking our slides, helping to look at the issues, being available for questions, and they're looking into it for us to try to see about the enforcement. But what we're asking you, sir, is that if that's a valid thing to enforce, it's there in the books, 14-5.1. It says you can say to a landowner, you got 20 days to clean it up, or we will clean it up and charge you. Can we get your help in that if we need your muscle behind it?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Port. Absolutely happy to help with that. And you know, I've had DPP come out with these derelict homes where they haven't cleaned their yard for years, come out and actually clean it and charge the homeowners. So this is a perfect opportunity. I wasn't aware of 14-5.1, but thank you for looking that up, and I'll put in a request for DPP tomorrow.
Thank
And I
you,
think I
sir.
offered you for you too. Like one day, I have a chainsaw and a truck, so I'm happy to
Yes, sir.
try this. And if it doesn't work, I'll come out and cut it myself. I know
Well,
I
sir,
told you that the last time, but
Roger that, sir. In fact, our community was out there doing stuff, and we definitely appreciated you making that offer. We really did. Eventually, it took many, many months of efforts, multiple PowerPoint slides, presentations to Representative Grandinetti and to this neighborhood board. They finally cleared the dead trees. The problem is now we have all these weeds and mud flowing down in the sidewalks. So the main cutting of the dead trees after months of efforts finally happened. That's the one shining light of our efforts with DOE. Now phase 2 is still not being done, of actually doing some remediation of this muddy, weed-strewn area. At least the dead trees got cut down. But folks in the neighborhood were very happy, by the way, when we reported. We said, Tommy Waters says he'll get a chainsaw. They said yes. So it actually had a wonderful effect for enthusiasm from the community, just hearing you even say that. So thank you, sir.
thank you, Mr. Porter. I'll drive by there tomorrow morning.
Hey, thank you.
I'm away at work. Thank you.
Does anybody else in the community have any questions for Council Chair Tommy Waters? Chair, just going back to the homeless issue real quick. I reached out to your office. I think at the last meeting we had, you know, the issue is getting it's getting worse, not better, unfortunately, in our neighborhood. And I know as somebody who drives through that area every day, you likely see it as well too. Just wondering if there's any way we can coordinate to help keep pushing this issue forward and trying to get some sort of responsiveness. Loved the willingness to bring the head of the homeless task response force, I think it is, or we'd love to sit down and meet with him, walk through the neighborhood. Would be happy to schedule time for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair Covito. Let's do that sooner than later. You know, I know you're super busy, but let's just set a date and get it done. I totally agree. And like I said, Mr. Mihir is a great guy, and he really cares. So let's get him out there with us. But let's do
Awesome.
that sooner than later if we can. What time is good for you?
Honestly, you tell me what time works for you and your what I assume is even busier schedule than mine, and I will drop whatever's happening at that time, and I will make it happen.
Awesome. Let's do it like at 3 o'clock on an afternoon next week if possible. Okay.
Excellent.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
And then going back to an issue that we had discussed before that had gotten slightly better and is now starting on the decline again. There was that monster house that we had discussed. I always forget the street. I can send you an email referencing the.
Is that on the freeway?
Yes, yes,
front?
sir. That's the one.
Yeah. You know, DPP, their philosophy is that if you can come into compliance, they'll allow you to do it. And my philosophy is if you broke the law, you should be required to take it down. Similarly, I don't know if you guys are aware, there's a monster home on Sierra Drive. And it was really, really bad. They knocked down a perfectly good house, built 3 houses, and they didn't comply with the law. You have to do a certain setback, right? And DPP revoked the permit, and they appealed to the Building Board of Appeals, lost, and then all of a sudden we saw them working on the house again. And they never told me, they didn't even tell the director, DPP, some of the people worked there, didn't even tell the director that they had given them a permit. They simply just changed one of the bedrooms into a garage, and somehow that qualified. But I'm afraid nothing's happening on that house. It's same like with the Sierra Drive house. So let me get back to you on that one. I want to get another response from DPP to see exactly what they were going to require the homeowner to do. But they don't even have a permit. My understanding is they never even had a building permit.
The
built the
house,
house.
after you brought it up last time, whoever does own the property, they had a roll off there. I think about 2 weeks later, they had their trash spilling out into the street. There were some really incredible photos of it, but they paid somebody to come in. They cleaned it up briefly, threw down some new plywood, and now the homeless are back. There are several of them living in the property itself. The neighborhood, I always see the neighbors out there taking a look at the property. You know, if I had to live next to that, I would be deeply unhappy. I'm sure as they
Yeah.
all are, and as they've expressed in the news as well. But it seems as though whoever owns that property is unwilling to put in the effort or the financial resources to get it back up to what our neighborhood considers par. So again, I know that this one has been on your radar for a long, long time, but if there's anything we can do to add pressure to them, that would be most welcome.
Okay, will do. I'll drive by there again tomorrow on my way to Panini Street before I go to work and take pictures. Sometimes I send pictures into DPP just to say, hey, look, this is what we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and it seems to help. But appreciate that, Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, your voice carries a lot of weight, so getting it out there really helps us out. So thank you. Any
Sure.
additional questions? Perfect. Chair, it's good to see you again. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Great to have you here. in
Thank
person.
you. I'm going to stay on. My phone's going to die, so I'm going to plug it into the wall, but I'll stay on. I just won't have my camera on. And hopefully when all my presentation comes up, I can turn my camera back on.
Sounds perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, Representative Mark Hashem.
Hi, good evening, Chair,
Oh
Vice
my
Chair, and
goodness.
board members. I'm
3
not
meetings in a row. That's either Jenga or tic-tac-toe, but we'll take it either way. My God.
well. Thank
How
you.
are you
Thank
this
you for
evening?
that. I'm fine. I believe we've met before. I'm Jane Taylor here on behalf of Representative Mark Hashem from District 19.
I remember you well, Jane. Welcome back.
Thank you. I have been listening in on all of your community issues so that I can report back to Rep tomorrow of all the discussions going on. I know that you had a nice discussion with him about the homeless when he was there last month. So I will report that that is a continuing issue. We are working on a lot of bills at the Senate, at the House. All the Senate bills have crossed over. So tonight was the triple referral deadline. So we were actually at the Capitol until about 6:30, getting all of our committee reports in. So anyway, it's nice to hear about what is going on in your neighborhoods. If you guys have any questions for me, I'm here. I did want to report one kind of joyful thing that people might be happy to hear about, and that's a spring book sale at the Ainahaina Library. The Friends of the Library are having a sale April 8th through April 11th, and the hours will be the regular library hours. So that's a good way to support that neighborhood. We have been able to help them out in our capital improvement requests over the last several years, and it's going well. Business, a lot of bills coming through. We've been having a lot of calls from constituents, and I usually handle this with our friends from the city and county in terms of stream and culvert maintenance and assorted road issues around the neighborhoods, Ainahaina, Kulia'o. So we have been getting a lot of good response back from the city and county, and then we're able to channel all that info back to the constituents. So please let your community know if you have anything we can help you with, help you expedite, help you get a work order number on. We're happy to assist. Just call the office. We're a very friendly office, and we're here to help you with any issues. So with that, is anyone has any questions for me? I'm happy to take them.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for Jane from Mark Hasham's office?
I don't have a question, but I just want to thank you, Jane, for helping us with the easement, the Waiʻalae easement.
Thank you. Yes.
And it got, I see that it was passed in the House, and now it's on its way to the Senate.
That's right. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. We did see your testimony and Mark's testimony as well. Thank you for that.
Does anybody in the community have any questions for the representative from Mark Hasham's office? Real quick, Jane, I know that Mark Hasham's district takes over most of Maunalua Bay. A lot of that bay is the recipient of a lot of the trash that Aloha had brought up earlier, and that our community has been plagued with over a period of time. So I know that he's been doing actually some excellent work with the, there's a Ossipoff house that's being restored on the fish pond over there.
Right.
That he, I believe, is assisting with funding or grant writing or something like that. So, you know, excellent to see him involved with that sort of project. In the topic of clean water, waterways, and lovely natural resources, if we can do what we can and have him lean in directions that might be able to help us, whether it be with HPD, DLNR, whoever it may be, but continuing to push this topic forward where every time it rains, we have one issue to deal with, and that's power outage instead of power outage, heroin needles, trash, and all the other things that come with it. That would be most appreciated.
Fine. Yeah, for sure. And we were privy to the information that the second phase of the Maunalua Bay you know, repaving of the lot and several other things. The money has been approved for that through CIP, so we're excited about that. But I will call out the after storm issues. We are in contact with DLNR practically on a daily basis, so I believe it would fall under DLNR.
Okay, awesome, thank you. And then also, I just wanted to appreciate issue some appreciation for the FaceTime that your office has been putting in. I feel heard and appreciated, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for calling that out. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you again.
You as well. Thanks so much. Up next, live and in person, coming to you from the spotlight, Representative Tina Grandinetti.
We gotta stop with the applause, guys. Okay, so yeah, like Representative Hasham's staffer shared, tonight was a deadline night at the Capitol. Let's see, we just passed crossover, which means our House bills went over to the Senate. It's a very anxiety-inducing time of year for me because all my babies are with the senators now. But we're doing good so far. 6 bills for my personal package crossed over. They focus on strengthening protections for the 40% of Hawaii households who rent, tackling consumer protections, particularly in grocery items, and prohibiting your data from being used to basically produce personalized prices that tailor prices to how much price pain you're willing to tolerate. And then also a bill to establish an online hub where you can easily find everything you need, all of the different city and state programs that will help you save money on things like energy rebates, climate resilience, and home, what do you call upgrades to help you save money on energy efficiency and climate preparedness. I also co-chair the Working Families Caucus, and 2 of our bills passed. Both of them are focused on expanding the child and dependent tax credit to help folks who have kids or kupuna to take care of. And on that note, I believe 2 days ago, we passed the House budget. And as co-convener of the Working Families Caucus, I'm not on the Finance Committee, so I take no credit for the House budget, but I am really proud of the work that our Finance Committee did. I think that the budget we are sending over to the Senate does a really good job at trying to preserve our critical social services in the midst of massive and very destructive federal cuts, and also preserve tax relief for working families and middle-class folks, even upper middle-class folks, while asking the very wealthiest in our communities to pay their fair shares to help us weather these very tough times. What other updates do I have? We recently sent out our newsletter to almost every single door in House District 20. There's a couple of streets that don't quite match up to the postal routes. So if you happen to not receive one, please email my office and we'll make sure you are added to our mailing list. Or if you prefer, we also send out pretty regular e-newsletter blasts. We've been very busy with constituent requests after the Kona low. And so this past week, we sent out an e-blast with all of the resources we could find on things like filing a complaint with HECO if you sustain damages to your appliances during the power outages, filing insurance claims through DCCA's guidance, and even filing for replacement SNAP benefits if you or someone you love uses SNAP and happen to lose food in those pretty long outages that many of our residents had to endure over the last week. And we also gave some tips on how to prepare for the rains that are coming this weekend because we're not out of the woods yet. So if you'd like to be added to that list, you can just email my office at repgrandinetti@capitol.hawaii.gov. And we are always available to try to help you sort out issues. We work very closely with Tommy Waters staff. And I wish I had better updates for you. And I also wanted to share an update that we did, or we haven't quite sent it out yet. We're preparing a letter for DOT reiterating the need for pedestrian safety measures at that intersection, because we did hear from several constituents in the last few weeks about really scary either close calls or actual accidents where people got hurt. So thank you. And here for questions.
Thank you so much for that update. Quick shout out to the legislative representatives who show up in person and who make FaceTime online to show up and be here and be present. So thank you as always for being so involved in the community here with us. We really appreciate having the opportunity to talk to the person directly representing us.
You had a cousin of mine here last week.
Miss Jocelyn, very passionate about native plants.
Yes.
And lovely woman. So
Awesome.
thank her for her passion and her environmental stewardship.
I will.
It is well received. But does anybody on the board have any questions for Representative Grandinetti?
Hi, Representative. 2 questions. One is regarding the bill that you co-sponsored, number 127, to reduce the bail. I think you did sponsor it. Anyway, or introduced it. So the bill was to reduce bail pre-trial based on the person's income level or whatever. And, the presumption of innocence,
Mm-hmm.
And what I read is 78% of people in jail are awaiting trial.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be also a nice budget cut. My question is, why isn't the existing system where the judge has the discretion to set bail or not, or the amount not working? So that's my first one.
I don't know if I have a good answer for you as to why it's not working. I didn't introduce the bill. I did co-sponsor to support the work of our judiciary chair, who's been taking a taking on some really serious work around criminal justice reform. In my opinion, he takes a very measured and evidence-based approach. So I support that. I am really supportive of his work. But if you'd like, I can talk with his staff attorneys. They are really good and they always have a lot of resources to support their decisions. So I can happily send it over.
That's like, do you know if that's one of the bills that made it over?
Yeah, I think it
did?
is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And the second one is the Hawaii state income tax cuts.
Mhm.
And you addressed it, and I was getting conflicting information, like
Yes.
it would be scrapped forever,
Yeah.
it would be postponed. But it sounds like there's a hybrid approach where
Yes.
certain groups
Yeah.
are going to not be impacted so much
Mhm.
and others. And is that during the whole 4 or 5 year period it's implemented?
It is. And so it preserves the governor's proposal was to pause the breaks, the historic tax breaks for everyone across the board. And this House proposal actually preserves tax breaks for everyone except for the highest brackets. And it's a marginal income tax, right? So actually, even folks at the higher brackets receive some relief on income, I think below 450,000 a year for joint filers. And then on top of that, they are receiving, I think, 1% increases for each bracket.
And is that for the full term of the tax cuts? Oh, good. Good
And
news.
on top of that, we're restructuring our child independent care tax credit to focus its benefits on working families. So working families will see a larger benefit from that.
Yeah, because I read the budget is going to be like $3 billion
Yes.
less, and
Yeah.
this will do about 1.8 billion.
Yeah. And so the Senate is taking, I think, quite a different approach and trying to focus on, making cuts or scraping where we can. And it'll be interesting to see where we land. But I think our House took, yeah, I prefer our House approach.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Christian, I have a question. Yeah, I have a question, Tina.
Hi, Rich.
In my business, representing injured victims, we're having a lot of trouble, much more trouble than we had 10, 20 years ago with the health insurance, HMSA and the other companies. Formally, when a doctor, prescribed a certain treatment or a diagnostic procedure like an MRI, it would be pretty much automatically agreed to. The health insurance companies now, such as HMSA, are being very penurious. They're blocking treatments. They're blocking diagnostic tests. They have kind of gangs, what I call gangs of defrocked nurses back in the American South, who review these requests and pretty much automatically deny them. So that therefore the treating physicians have to spend a lot of time appealing the denials. Once they spend the hours, the unnecessary hours, appealing the denials, then lo and behold, HMSA and the other medical insurance companies will agree to the treatment. But it seems like this is a scam that Hawaii's health insurers are involved in, trying to increase their profits by making available treatment more and more difficult for the people who, pay money for their health insurance. Is the health committee, is the state house looking into this or exploring these abuses, which might only get worse if that monopoly plan of HMSA and Hawaii Pacific Health, if that's granted?
Yeah. Last session, our health committee did take up prior authorization reform. I'm not an expert on that, but I know we did pass a measure. I think there's still a lot of work to be done. On the merger, though, I vice chair consumer protection and highly recommend watching the info briefing we held on the HMSA HPH partnership. They're not calling it a merger. That's really weird watching myself.
Well, they're
But
going to become another Kaiser, is what's going to
yeah,
happen.
and so we are, so HMSA recently submitted their filings to the federal regulators to review that proposed partnership, and their 30-day window is coming to a close. So we are planning to have another info briefing once we get more information about what that filing looks like and what the federal antitrust regulators have to say about it. But it is a really huge issue. I mean, our healthcare system is already broken, not just in Hawaii, but across the country. And I feel like there is serious concern that this merger will make it worse. But I am happy to share with the neighborhood board when that info briefing comes around. And if it's sometime before the next one, I'm happy to share the link because they're all posted on YouTube.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are concerned about these monopoly consolidations. I don't think the monopoly consolidation of Hawaiian Air
Yeah.
and Alaska Air has done the state any good at all, and it's really kind of depreciated service. So, this is a very disturbing trend, these consolidations, at least in my opinion.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent feedback, Rich. Thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. That's disgusting. Maybe we should make them personally responsible if they put their names on a piece of paper denying care.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
It's very difficult. I mean, it's very difficult to fight those denials. You have to go to the State Insurance Commission, ask for a hearing. It takes a long, long time, and the poor victim, might be dead or in a lot worse shape, by the time the Insurance Commission has a hearing on the denial of the procedure. But thank you, Christian.
Is there any sort of recourse for having to go through that procedure and then, or through that
It's very
hearing?
difficult. I mean, you can ultimately bring a lawsuit for bad faith, but you normally have to go through the administrative appeal process first, which is appealing to the State Insurance Commission. And, that takes, as I mentioned, a long, long time. And of course, bringing a bad faith lawsuit against a giant like HMSA is a very, very expensive process. It probably costs $20,000, $30,000 in legal expenses before you get to trial, which might be 2 or 3 years down the road. So we need more help. We need more help than the government is providing us.
Well, luckily, we got a piece of the government right here. Please bring those concerns forward into that next info session. That is very concerning. Does anybody else in the community or on the board have any questions for Representative Grandinetti? I think we're all good. Thank you again so much for your in-person presence. It is always welcomed.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank
you. Up next, Senator Stanley Chang. Do we have a representative from Senator Stanley Chang's office?
Right here. Good to be back with you all. It's Stephanie here on the screen.
Oh, there we are. Good to see you again. How are you this evening?
Doing very well, and happy Lunar New Year to those. I think maybe Casey from the office presented last month before that occurred. So thanks so much on that note to all the individuals here spending their evenings. I wish I could be there with you in person, as does the senator. It's bedtime, and my little one's just waiting for me to do. She says I have to go to bed after my presentation. So as you know, Senator's got 2 young ones as well. So we're grateful that the technology is working. I myself live in district and was without Wi-Fi and power for extended amounts of time. So those who have reached out to us for help. You know, it's personal, and we're happy to be as much of a resource as we can be. So in the meantime, the technology is working, so glad to be here. Senator Chang this year is continuing to chair the Housing Committee. Thank you so much for elevating one of his bills earlier today and raising that for thoughtful discussion and activation. He also serves on the Energy, Environmental, Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, EIG, JDC, and Water and Land. And so, as was mentioned by some of the representative, it's been some late nights here getting through the legislative process. And we're just so grateful to those of you who take the time to call, send emails, submit testimony, and provide your contributions to the legislative process. Those are noted. We spend a huge part of our day just supporting constituent concerns. So, so we're grateful for the opportunity to be of service. This biennium, Senator Chang has led 212 bills, and I dropped the link in the chat earlier. I'll send it again to the legislature's website, where you can see specifically, for those who are interested, the bills that he has introduced. Of course, he has signed on and supports a number of other measures, resolutions, and things of that nature, which you can also create your own customized databases to keep track if you'd like to do that. And the public access room, I like to plug this because a lot of times we don't, is a wonderful resource to help you learn more about how to do that. They are staffed with legislative librarians who can help you understand not just how to engage in the process right now as we prepare to head into conference next month, but historically what's been done on the issues that are of concern to you and the opportunities that you have in the future to contribute on those topics as well, or at least to be abreast of what's happening. So yeah, we did put out a March newsletter and some interesting highlights there. I dropped again the link to the chat. It's easy to get to if you're not in the chat. senatorchang.com will get you to our newsletters. We have a weekly newsletter that goes out about housing. If you're keen and interested, we'd love for you to join us for a live discussion tomorrow. The Our Homes webinar will be featuring a discussion with some professors from UHERO on one of their studies that is currently a working paper that was just launched in November, talking about multifamily homes and condos, and some surprising data that they discovered about increasing access for families with these units. And then, of course, you'll see some legislative updates. And it's nice to see that some of these bills that were highlighted in that very newsletter for the month of March are continuing to move through the process. A number of bills will be heard in 12 hours from now. Capital Improvement Project, Senator Chang was out, recently completed a playground, which is very exciting to see. I know there's Waiʻalae Elementary School has a project that's in the closeout process. And then the rest of what you see in these newsletters, frankly, a lot of it comes from you all. You know, we do make sure that staff attend these meetings and take notes and bring things back to the office and to the senator. And as the agencies are sharing updates and you all raise questions, we go out and seek that information and make that available on both of our social media and our newsletters as well. So I won't prolong the meeting, but happy to take your questions, comments, and especially your insights and ideas back to the senator. And again, want to extend my gratitude to those of you who do take the time to help and share your lived experience and observations and help inform both the legislative and decision-making processes. So thanks for the opportunity to share tonight. Thanks for all the work that you all do.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for Senator Stanley Chang's representative? Does anybody in the community have any questions for Senator Stanley Chang's representative? I do have actually two quick points I'd love to touch on before we let you go and get off to bed. But the homeless issue that we are all dealing with, I will continue to beat the dead horse until morale improves. But We are looking for support in any and all directions. And senator, even a state senator, has a lot of sway behind their word. And so if we could get State Senator Stanley Chang, I know he lives in the area. I see him walking with his babies and around the neighborhood from time to time. But as somebody who is walking around our neighborhood, he must be seeing the exact same issues that we are all experiencing on a daily basis, whether it be the mental health crises that we observe every single day on the streets, the homeless encampments for those who are unable to provide their own shelter, part of what you guys are attempting to do with your housing initiatives, or whether it be the dangerous debris that flows into the water every night. Every time we get some rain, we are looking to solve a variety of problems, and we find that by getting our local politicians involved, we've been finding enormous success. The gentleman from the Department of Transportation Services nailed at least 5 good things off his list this evening. And we have repeatedly been coming with 1 or 2 on our list to you. And we would love to get that marked off at some point. And another note as well, we have yet to see Senator Stanley Chang, whether it be via video chat or in person. We invite him to come and associate with the community that he represents, and would also like to remind him as well that it is election year and he is up for election. On top of that too, I do keep track of all these things. Currently, Mark Hashem has shown up this year and his representatives more than Senator Stanley Chang has to this neighborhood board meeting. And we do, like I said, appreciate being able to associate and directly communicate with those who hold power and influence our day-to-day lives. So if the senator could find time in his very busy schedule, I know he's got family, but then again, so do a lot of us here. We would love to talk to him and bring our concerns to him directly as well.
Thank you so much for raising that. And again, I'm glad to be here. I was here last session and back this session, so you may catch me again next month. But I will relay that. Did you have a specific request or question that you are awaiting a response on pertaining to the homeless issue? I did jot down some notes about what you shared, of course.
Everybody, it seems as though in the various different agencies and groups, always seem to finger point at each other and then go, we'll ask the questions, then get back to you. And then nobody ever really gets back to us about anything real. So the question is, how can we get things done, and can we get them done tomorrow? And we would love it if they would organize, the people who get paid to do these things would organize amongst themselves and actually do the things that they get paid to do. So however it gets done, we don't really care, but we would love to see it get done. So how can you help? I think
So
is the
is there
question.
any specific state level legislation that I can elevate in regarding these issues, or is this just broadly our mutual and shared concern about the issues that you've identified?
I think it's more about highlighting the things that he drives by every day, and we want solutions. We don't understand the various intricacies and the exact pie slices of government, and unfortunately, we don't normally have the time to deal with such things. But we have been asking for help as a community, and we would like to receive help as a community. So, however, Senator Stanley Chang feels as though he can best provide that help, that is the help that we would like.
Awesome. And as you know, this is near and dear to his heart, not only because we live in the community and are seeing and witnessing ourselves, but his experience on city council as well has also informed sort of his understanding. And anyone who'd like to request an opportunity to speak with him, and
I would
especially
absolutely
if
love
there are
that. And if we could
legislation
coordinate that that walkthrough with Council Chair Tommy Waters at the same time, kill a couple birds, same stone, I think that would be fantastic.
So yeah, please reach out to our office manager. Or you just give us a call. There's only a couple of us there in the office, so we'll know who you are. You can send an email to senchang@capital.hawaii.gov or give us a call on the main line, and we can receive your invitations and try to get calendars aligned for such
Sounds perfect.
conversations.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for all
much.
you
I
do.
appreciate
All right,
that.
take care, everybody.
You as well. All right, we are done with the politicians. Up next, resident community concerns. Limited to 3 minutes each. It is currently 9:05. We have 25 more minutes on board, and we have many other things to reach to. But currently up on group, do we have any members in the community who would like to voice their concerns, hear their voices heard? Please.
Thank you. I'm still Randy Port. Up the bat again here. On that issue we have with Pu'upanini Avenue. Oops. Hang on a quick second here. I just hand hold it. Hang on a second. Snap it in there. That doesn't count against my time, does it? Reclaim my time there. Okay. On the issue of Pu'upanini Avenue, right off the bat, we want to thank Patty Jetty from from the governor's office. At the prior neighborhood board meeting, we expressed to Patty Jetty our difficulties in getting any sort of response from the DOE facilities office as to the status of the plans for the land remediation and the problem we have with the sidewalk. She said she would check in with it, and she did try, so we thank her very much for that. As of yesterday, she had no reply. She sent me an email yesterday saying, I still haven't heard from them. Have you heard anything? My answer was no. Yet today, finally, bingo, a reply came through after all that. So A, we want to thank her very much for the help from the governor's office. Thank Andrew also for filling in for her today. But we'd also like to point out that that response that finally came in today, a seemingly last-minute response, is very likely, we don't know for sure, but very likely because of this neighborhood board. The neighborhood board has served a fantastic purpose of enabling us to work with Representative Grandinetti, with Tommy Waters, with the governor's office, and gives an umbrella or by which we can go to multiple agencies with a single problem that has crossover issues and try to get it addressed in multiple ways. So the point is, if anybody ever says to me, what's the purpose of the neighborhood board? I say, this is a fantastic umbrella by which we can bring up issues and have better transparency in government. So thank you very much to the neighborhood board for your existence and for giving us this opportunity. In terms of the issues that are going on with the street, yeah, it's been 2 months. They still haven't done any maintenance on the sidewalk. We've seen some seemingly bizarre things to us. For example, they've mowed the inside of the land where the building is located that nobody uses, yet they're not keeping the sidewalk clear, even though that's where we have people walking with baby carriages and the kids from variety school and all the joggers. And today I talked to Winston Sakurai over there, and I said, Winston, how come you're not weed whacking the sidewalk area, because that's where people are walking, and you're mowing the lawn in the back? And the answer has something to do with it's a facilities thing, because Winston is with curriculum. Its facilities is really the whole problem and the issue about taking care of the property. But it just gets into the whole weirdness of why would they even clear an area nobody's using? But the problem still continues, and we thank Tommy Waters if he's going to swing by and take a look at that. And again, for Tommy Waters, if you're still there, sir, if you check with Adam Doe, he's familiar with that revised ordinances of Honolulu issue that we brought up. Today at 4:27 p.m., I received a phone call from Winston Sakurai at the Office of Curriculum. They're the people that are located on the building right over there, although they're not really in control of the thing the way facilities is. But he did inform me today at 4:27 that, hey, we had a meeting today in which the facilities is looking at the options, balancing safety factors, and looking what other state agencies are doing. Basically what Andrew Lawrence here had reiterated, and they just had that meeting today. We certainly appreciate the phone call from Winston letting us know, but again, the problem really is that it's facilities that's in control. But the thing that we pointed out to him is that what actual steps are being taken. Looking at options, balancing factors, considering things, that's not real action. I'll wrap it up real quick here. That's not real action. Action is if they were to say, this person has responses out, this person has actual inquiries out, this person has a spreadsheet out, something that's actually being done, and not this vague stuff, because frankly, for months and months and months, DOE has told us we're looking at it, whatever the heck that means. We want to see something tangible actually happening. So in closing, we want to definitely thank Representative Grandinetti for her help on this and helping. We want to thank Chairman, this whole neighborhood board, and Councilman Waters and the governor's office for all being part of helping us to try to get this thing finally resolved and have a safe sidewalk area and have something that's appropriate for the neighborhood. Thank you.
If I had known that you were going to stroke our egos that much, I would have given you 5 minutes. So thank you. Thank you so much. Yep. Another 2. Let him finish. Let's see. Are there any other community concerns to be heard? You, sir. Please.
Aloha Neighborhood Board. My name is Kahi Picaro. Some of you may have already been seeing me walking around your community. I'm not there to sell you anything. I'm actually there to introduce myself. I'm running for State House of Representatives for District 19. I've been working in the community service world for almost 2 decades now, and I see this next extension of community service as being a servant in our government. Rich Turbin had a talk there really quickly about these industries really having a control over our government. I just want to let you know that I personally am not taking any donations from any trade groups, corporate companies, any special interests. A lot of our politicians are. I'd say the vast majority of them are. I'm not. I want to be there representing you and your concerns and not theirs. It's the people first, and I'd love your support. I've got some flyers over here, and for those online that want to learn more about me, open the door, come talk to me when I knock on it. I'm going door to door, and then also you can check me out at peopleforpicaro.com and also on social media. Aloha.
Thank you very much. And then, yeah, quick question for you. So what district are you running for? And who's the current occupier of that district? Mark Hashem. Okay. Let the record reflect that you and Mark Hashem have now shown up an equal amount of time. Like I said, we keep track of this stuff. So thank you for being impassioned in your community and showing up. Marvelous. I will take one as well, please. Do we have any other resident community concerns that need to be heard this evening? Thank you. All right, moving on. Board business, let's skip through this real quick so we can get to the presentations. Approval of Thursday, February 19th minutes. All on approval? Brian,
Aye.
Rich, Peter? Yep, perfect. All right, it is approved. We will skip the alternate venues since we've discussed that ad nauseum. Oh, permanent interaction group, the pig. Miss Aloha McGuffey, how is the pig?
Okay, it's going well. We have our first meeting scheduled for Friday, April 3rd. So I hope you can make it, Christian.
I will absolutely
Okay,
be there with
good.
bells and whistles on. And for those of us who don't speak government, what is a pig?
It's a permitted interactive group, and we are we've been organized to review 2 plans, 2 city and county regional plans. One is the primary urban center development plan, and the other is the the East Honolulu Sustainable Communities Plan. These 2 plans actually govern the Waiʻalae Kāhala Neighborhood Board District. And the purpose is to review the plans and determine what solutions to some of the challenges that we have might be offered to the city and county when they do their formal updates, and it's updated every 10 years. So we're hoping, and if we come up with ideas that can be solved at the ground level, we can go ahead and organize ourselves with our community members to do what we need to do. But for things more formal that might require budgeting by the city and county, then those have to be submitted to the city and county DPP for consideration in the next updating. So this is an important work. It's never been done, at least from what I understand, in the Waiʻalae Kāhala Neighborhood Board. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, John, for participating as well. So we have.
A t-shirt.
And I'm just now trying to secure the venue. So as soon as I get the venue set up, then I will send an email back to us. So we have 6 members right now, including myself, Christian, John, Colin Fujiki is also the co-sponsor for us, and Dalen
Yes.
Lamb raised his hand. I sent him an email as well, and Jim Nicolay.
Right there, the gentleman in the white shirt.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Excellent. And so a lot of the issues that have been brought up this evening, do you feel like this group might be able to help influence those in a positive manner?
Well, I can't say for sure right now, but I think the first thing we have to do is review the plan, see what's missing from the plan, and then start working on the proposed ideas.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for
But I
your hard
can't
work on
Be
those.
specific on any one of these at this point.
No worries. Perfect. Thank you so much. We have the Senate Bill 2423 and House Bill 1734 regarding the residential density. That was already discussed earlier by Chair Waters. It is a shot down, so we will skip it since it has no immediate pertinency. So, yes, I believe. We love coincidence. All right. Up next, new business and presentations. Let's see. We have, I believe, a presentation, Dr. O'Neill.
So I'd like to introduce myself. I'm an emergency physician currently, but I walk my dog every day and I go to this park, and I just want to talk a little bit about this park. And you're probably thinking, well, how is this relevant to you guys, because you are in a different district and everything, but I'm going to talk about that in the end, so stay tuned. So this is our park. It's Maumai, and I'm just going to talk about keeping it green, so you can go to the next slide. Are you able to? It's okay. I was like, okay, so it's located in Kaimuki, and it is a site of historical significance. I got a lot of this information from someone in our neighborhood. His name is Nathan Kupule, so I want to give him credit. But I didn't know a lot of this, and I thought it was very interesting. He put together a whole little presentation for the fire department. So it's a site of historical significance rooted in ancient Hawaiian religious practices and strategic military defense. So the name Maumai translates to withered grass in the Hawaiian language, reflecting the naturally dry and dusty environment of the Kaimuki area. Next slide, please. So historically, Kaimuki area was home to several heiau, or sacred temples, one of which was specifically named Maumai Heiau. Heiau was situated on the Honolulu side of the Kaimuki Hills, specifically near Sierra Drive. It is reported that signal fires were lit at this and nearby heiau to provide a visual communication network between the islands. And there's also 3 other heiau, but I'm going to just skip over in the interest of time. Go to the next slide. So during King Kamehameha's I's campaign to unite the islands, the ridge served as a critical vantage point. So when Kamehameha stationed his troops along the beaches of Waikiki in preparation for the Battle of Oahu, he positioned lookouts at Kaimuki. These scouts used the high elevation to spot potential enemies arriving by sea long before they reached the shoreline. Next slide, please. The area was not heavily populated due to lack of consistent water sources. The tea oven legend. So the broader Kaimuki area is named for the legend of Menehune cooking tea roots in earth ovens. Kaimuki literally means the tea oven. I didn't know that either. That's something you learn. So modern management of the park aims to foster the growth of Polynesian introduced plants and native species, which were historically integral to Hawaiian culture for medicinal and practical uses. Next slide. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about what our neighborhood is sort of opposed to. We're not opposed to the Hawaii Kyoto Foundation specifically. We just do not want the Kyo Dojo in the park. So, you know, I think it's fine that they can practice archery and everything, but we just don't want them to take up our nature preserve. So the Hawaii Kyoto Foundation and the City County of Honolulu are teaming up to construct a Kyo Dojo facility in Maumai Nature Park. HKF is funding and constructing the $850,000 facility, which will be gifted to the city when completed. It will be operated and maintained by HKF under the supervision of the Honolulu Departments of Parks and Recreation. And Kyoto archery is a form of Japanese martial arts. So they will actually control, so there's a mini park. I don't know if any of you have been to Wilhelmina side of the highway, kind of in Kaimuki area, but there's like a mini park there. And then there's the nature preserve is actually a larger green area, mostly covered by trees. Unfortunately, a lot of them are invasive species, but you know, it is still green space. Trees still provide oxygen. You know, this area that on the tax map, they are actually will control the area that they will be having the Kyo Dojo in, as well as the mini park that we as residents go to, you know, bring our dogs to play. Other residents bring their children, you know, and we actually in the summers, one of our community, she has free dog classes, and people come from all over the island. You know, some people, they travel from, you know, Makiki or, you know, Palolo, and they come to these dog classes that are free. They're obedience dog classes. So we hold a lot of things in the park, you know. So you can go, next slide. So this is the depiction of the campus. So they're going to have a driveway to a 19-stall parking lot. They're going to have 2 buildings. Apparently one is to shoot from, one is to shoot to. They're going to be on concrete slabs. And then they're going to have a Japanese garden, and they're going to have irrigation so they can plant some native plants. Go to the next slide. So what are some of the problems we as a community have against this dojo? So they're going to be shooting arrows. There's not really an adequate buffer zone, which was why this is like the 3rd time I think they've tried to bring this forth. The second, like there was one time in the 1990s, another time in 2002, 2003, around that era, and this is the 3rd time they've tried to bring it forth. The other 2 times it has been rejected by community opposition, and they also, the last time they didn't get the Board of Water Supply permit, as well as there was also, it was determined by the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board at that time that there wasn't a safe buffer zone. Because they're shooting arrows. They will have some netting, but it's just, you know, it's just that we are right. If we're in the mini park, it's kind of still sort of dangerous. And then we also have some hiking trails going up that haven't been well maintained, but some people do still use them. Some people go up with their dogs and they still use them. And so it's just dangerous in general. It's not really something for a residential neighborhood, you know? So another thing is that we noticed that it's going to be built on top of a board of water supply aquifer. So right now, obviously, you know, we're not having any shortage of waterfall, but, you know, it changes year to year, and we don't know, you know, with global warming that we might need to access the aquifer, and them building something on top of that might prevent us having access to this aquifer. So that was in the past why Board of Water Supply didn't supply them with the permit. So go ahead, next slide. So there are some things that Hawaii Kyoto Foundation and the city and county of Honolulu, they have made a binding agreement to bring this together to the park. And there's some things that they've been saying that I think I'm going to go through it. So go to the next slide. So this I've been hearing that the park is underutilized. I don't believe this is true. Of course, we could use the park more, but like I said, in the summers, from April to September, a lot of us in the community, we go to dog class every week. She holds it every week on Tuesday nights. We're there. And then besides that, you know, a lot of people bring their dogs there to play. I don't really think it's underutilized. A lot of people are going up and they're hiking in the trails. And I understood that Bob was there for a week, but during that week it was raining. I know he said that there weren't that many people and people were throwing out dog poop bags. But I think that sometimes, you know, people are deterred when there's some random person sitting in the park and they don't know who that person is. Some people told me that they thought he was trying to sell something. And so that's why they didn't go to talk to him, even though he had a sign saying, ask about the dojo. So go to the next slide. So also I've been hearing this over and over that the park is overrun by invasive plants. And that's true. There are a lot of invasive plants, but these invasive plants, they still do provide, like I was saying before, they provide oxygen. These trees, it's still green space, so it's still helpful. And if there's a problem with invasive plants, then I mean, the city and county should take responsibility for replacing the invasive plants with native plants. But I also think, I was talking to somebody in our community who's a horticulturalist, and he was talking about how the city and county, when they are, when they have parks, they're not, I think they don't have people on their staff who are, and I don't know if this is for sure, but he was saying that he noticed for instance, in the park in Ala Moana, they're watering the trees all the time, and then it floods, and nobody really understands what these plants need. So he said, for this kind of park, actually, it might be better, instead of installing an irrigation system, like save the taxpayers some money and install plants that are drought resistant. There's plants that are drought resistant that are adapted to the lowlands, and it makes more sense, because then taxpayers don't have to pay for the irrigation system, and there are fire retardant plants too. So you can advance to the next slide. So another issue is that there's a lot of, you can run it, yeah. So there's a lot of flooding. So this is just a year or two ago. And right now we're having flooding because of the rain. There's like a waterfall at the top, but this is an example of the flooding on 16th Avenue. It's really bad, and you don't know unless you live there. I used to live on 17th Avenue before I moved to the top of the hill, and my whole entire yard would flood during these heavy rains. So people don't realize that these trees they're acting as a watershed. And I understand that, there's like a little basin across the street on the other side, on the left side of this, this depiction. But it doesn't always, if the rain is coming down hard like this, it doesn't catch everything that fast. And the streets, just flood. And then if they're gonna put 2 concrete slabs there, 2 buildings, that's just it's gonna kill us. Look at this waterfall. It's ridiculous. I mean, you don't realize it unless you live here. The people who live here realize it. But if you're coming from another neighborhood, you're not going to know this. You don't live this day to day. So go to the, actually just finish you can finish it, but go to the next slide. He's playing. Okay, so this is another thing that I've heard that I kind of touched on it before, that there's a lot of invasive plants that are prone for being set on fire. And I suppose that's true. It's dry, it's brush, but putting a building there is not going to make things better. I mean, we saw in Maui that they had buildings there and the buildings set on fire. So I'm not sure how having the buildings there are going to make it any better than it is. And actually in 20 years or something, people were saying they've lived in our neighborhood for a long time, and they're saying they've never seen a fire there yet. So I'm not sure why all of a sudden today, there was a caterpillar, and they were tearing down all these trees, and they were saying that, there's a risk for fire, but look, like we're having a Kona low right now. We're not at any risk for fire now. So I don't know why all of a sudden they're so worried about the fires. We're having heavy rains, nothing's going to set on fire now. They can at least, if they were doing that in the summer, it would make sense, but all of a sudden they're cutting down trees in the middle of winter when it's pouring rain. That makes no sense to me, but let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And this I kind of touched on, the irrigation to plant native plants in the park. And Christian, because you work with Malu and everything, that there's plenty of plants that don't require a lot of water, even native plants. And I think that maybe we should concentrate on planting that. And actually, since this has all happened, the one good thing about it is we've gotten together as a community, and there's people in our community who are very knowledgeable about plants. And we've been thinking about, where they have torn down, the trees there, we would maybe be able to plant native plants that are drought resistant in that area. And there's members of our community who are able to obtain plants from their sources, and we would be able to maybe do that as early as April. So, and another thing is that I know there's some grants that we were thinking of applying to doing that. If the city and county of Honolulu is not going to be able to supply us with the money, then maybe we as a community can do that ourselves. So go to the next slide. And then this is another thing. So the best way to improve a park upon the park is to have a private foundation take over the land. I don't believe this is true. I think this is what the city of Honolulu is saying, because they're saying we don't have money to the Department of Parks says we don't have money, you know, to take care of this land. So let's just let a private foundation take it. But I think our community is ready to, now that, you know, this is a threat for us, we're ready to you know, maybe take care of the land ourselves. And I think maybe 20 years ago, there were people in the neighborhood who were planting trees, who were taking care of the park really well. And I know there's older people in the neighborhood who talked about them. So you can go to the next slide. So this is what I was talking about before. Why do you care about our park when you don't even live in our neighborhood? Why should you help us? So the land is zoned P2 preservation land, and I'm not sure how they're able to, you know, when it's zoned P2, I don't know how they're able to have a building, you know, the archery range and everything, but our opinion is we cannot allow a private organization to take over our nature park, because this will set a dangerous precedent for other private organizations to take land from our parks for their own use. So it's important to you, because look, like this could happen in Triangle Park. This could happen in any park. Someone comes, they have a foundation, has a lot of money, and they say, I want a basketball court here. I mean, actually a basketball court might serve more people than this does, you know, but you know, they might want to do what they want. You know, I want to have a pinball, you know, here or whatever. And so I just think that it's important to preserve the green space that we do have. And, you know, and there's nothing wrong. I mean, yeah, there's invasive species, but it's still green space. And we have very little green space left in our community. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so I have done a Google survey that anyone can fill out online. It's on Nextdoor. And so far I have 60 responses. And this is how many people aren't sure, how many people say yes, and how many people are saying no. So this is, but I also have a petition. Next slide. Okay, so this was the change.org position as of the 11th, but now we have 400 signatures. I also have paper signatures too for people who are not as internet savvy. So we have over 400 signatures, probably like 450 at this point on our petition. So next slide. So how can you help? Sign the petition, share the petition. Here's a QR code. If you are interested in helping us, we would love it. And then next slide. And then we wrote a resolution that we want to pass along to the other neighborhood boards. And I put XXX there, but you know, for you guys it would be Waiʻalae Kāhala. But we want to pass it along to all the neighborhood boards. So any questions?
Before we get into this, two issues I would like to bring up first. First is that I received an email from the Waiʻalae Foundation from Bob DeWitts, who requested that at our next board meeting, he be allowed to present an opposing view, and that we refrain from issuing any resolutions before he can be heard on this issue. I would like to open that up to the board right now.
That question or general comments?
The question as to whether to restrain from a resolution. He reached out to me the day before. He reached out to me after the agenda had been published because he saw the issue on the agenda.
So Dr. O'Neill, would there be any problem postponing a vote on the resolution by a month? I mean, is there anything in the timeline that
We don't have a problem. I mean, I guess we would prefer to vote as soon as possible, but I guess to be fair, we can hear his side of the story. We feel that actually our own neighborhood board voted for the dojo before they heard our side of the story. So I understand how frustrating it is not to hear the other person's side of the story. So I will give him the opportunity to present out of courtesy. Yeah.
Thank you very much. In addition to that, too, I would also like to disclose that Dr. Neal and I have a financial relationship. She is a client of one of my businesses. So for anything moving forward in regards to this, I'd like to excuse myself so there's no conflict of interest. Yeah, that's it. Is there anything I need to do for that or? Cool. All right. So does anybody have any questions to Dr. Neal regarding her presentation?
So thank you for the presentation. And when I read through the resolution, it's just the strongest thing is a moratorium.
Yes.
and they give people time to
Yes,
digest
yes,
everything.
yes, yes.
So that seems very reasonable to me.
Yes.
And my question is for the group that is against the archery range, would they also be against like a pickleball court or a baseball field or a dog park? I mean, is it going to be consistent that it should just be present?
So
reserved?
I think there's a mixed opinion. I think part of the problem with the Kyodojo is that there's very few people. I think there's nobody in the zip code of 96816. There's nobody in the immediate neighborhood who is actually practicing that. So it's serving very few people. And then I think most people would be against the concrete buildings and just having the loss of watershed. I think people are might be in favor of like a jungle gym or something like that. But that wouldn't be like on concrete slabs or anything, you know? So I don't know about the basketball courts or anything like that, but there are some suggestions on the Google survey in the responses, you know, about what people suggested, what they might want. But some people said, you know, a tennis court would serve more people. And, you know, there were comments like that. But I think for the most part, people just want to keep the area green and want it to be a P2 preservation zone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm curious why your board went and had it passed it. What was the conversation about?
Well, I think Bob had been going to the board meetings for a while. I think he was under the impression that a lot of people were going to people would go to the neighborhood board meetings. But in my Google survey, a lot of people just don't go to the neighborhood board meetings. And they didn't go until we found out about this issue, until they had a reason to go. So I think that the neighborhood didn't hear. I know I heard from several people in the board that they didn't know that there was any community opposition. And so that was part of the issue.
I hear you, but at the same time, usually the board looks to see how something like this would help their community, you know, how is it related to their community. So I'm not sure if I totally understand what the thinking was, but thank you.
Yeah.
Let this serve as a warning as to why you should always attend your neighborhood board meetings. Message well received. Unfortunately, we were running short on time, and in the interest of getting the gentleman here who maintains this facility home in time, if there are no more questions at this moment, we will be readdressing this issue at our next neighborhood board meeting so that both sides of this issue can be heard. I will act in my administrative capacity, and I will ask no questions and put forward no opinions on anything due to the financial relationship that we have. So, real quick, you, sir.
My name is Bob DeWitz. I am with the Kudo Foundation.
Oh,
I appreciate the opportunity to address you formally at the next session, but if I could just take 2 minutes to maybe answer a couple of points here. that you can
Since
be
we have
thinking
you
about.
on the agenda for next meeting, let's go ahead and relay that so we can get the gentleman home in time. We have other people who have already requested time to present at this board meeting, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to piss them off and say that we don't have time this evening. Luckily, everything that is here can be addressed at our next board meeting and does not have any time constraints until the next board meeting. So in that regard, can we call it? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for attending your neighborhood board meeting this evening. Thank you so much to everybody who showed up online as well. We will be reconvening next month, third Thursday of the month. We look forward to having you. For any of those who were here to present new business, to put forward a presentation, I do personally apologize that we did not have the time to get to you this evening. I will prioritize your presentations first before we get into it with the politicians next month. And give all of you the opportunity to be heard first. So thank you all so much for your time. Thank you so much for getting involved. It is a pleasure to have you as always. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.